In April of 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma cancer. It had shown up under my lymph nodes. Through surgery and immune therapy over a year, I beat it, and I was quite pleased about that. Unfortunately, in February 2022, I was diagnosed again. Not to worry, however, my oncologist said at Princess Margaret, we will give you a cocktail of immune therapy which will defeat the cancer. And the good news is that while I was to have 4 injections of this over a period of 4 months, the cancer went away after 2. I was obviously pretty pleased, but the problem is that the drugs were so strong that there was a problem with my liver. And in fact, the drugs started eating away at my liver. So fast forward to January 2023. My wife and I had gone down to Florida, and like mad people, of course, the day you arrive, you're in Publix and you're trying to get everything. And I was picking up a 36 bottle case of water. And as I did that, I kind of felt something in my back and I went down on the floor. I couldn't get up. I had to have my wife and one of the assistants at Publix bring me up. I hobbled back to our home, and for the next 2 weeks, I literally could not walk. I had to climb upstairs. I did contact my oncologist at Princess Margaret and said, this is what I'm experiencing. And unfortunately, he gave me the bad news, and that was, Greg, because of the length of time you're on the steroids and the dosage, there is a tendency to make your bones brittle. And I'm sorry, but I think this is what's happened. Flew back to Toronto and went under a bone scan, etc. And the news was as follows, and this was late January of this year. Greg, you've got at least 6 vertebrae fractured. You have a compressed spine. And I said, okay, now that I understand, I like the facts. Just give me a pill to solve this. And he said, there is no pill. And I said, okay, so what are the options? He says, you have 2 options. One, you can self-medicate. I said, what do you mean self-medicate? He says, Tylenol, just to relieve the pain. Or another option, if you qualify, and that is a procedure done at Toronto Western Hospital through a Dr. Eric Massicotte, as well as Dr. Roger Smith. I said, tell me what the procedure is. He says, well, and I remember Eric talking to me about this. He says, basically what we're going to do is we're going to inject bone cement into your back. I said, what? He says, yeah. I said, okay, bone cement is like, how are you going to do that? He says, well, what we do is we inject it into the areas, the cracks. I don't know if we can do anything about the compressed spine, but we certainly can give you a lot of relief with the fractures. I said, sign me up. So there I go, a couple of weeks later, and I have to tell you, this speed of activity was tremendous. They get me prone over a rubber mound, and I said, so what happens now? She said, well, we're going to put you to sleep, and we'll see you later. So with that, I woke up in the post-recovery, and there was Dr. Smith, Roger, standing right beside me, and he said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "Well, I'm a golfer, so is this Augusta?" He goes, "Well, I'm not a golfer, so I don't know what Augusta is." I said, "Trust me, it would be heaven." And he said, "Why don't you sit up?" And I said, "No, I'm not sitting up." He said, "Sit up." I sat up. He says, "Now stand up." I stood up. I arched my back because I could never do that. I started walking. I said, "Oh my God, you are a lifesaver. You and Eric have changed my life." That afternoon at 2 o'clock, I walked out with no cane, straight up and into a car. I have to tell you, that was life-changing. Today, I walk everywhere. I play golf. I'm back down to a 7 index for a 72-year-old guy like me. But more importantly, it's given me the freedom to go back doing what I wanted to do. We want to have a coming out party, if you will, for the good work that both of these doctors in the clinic does. And to that, they need time, talent, and treasure, okay? We're not doctors, they're the doctors. They're the caring individuals, but what we can do is give a little bit of time to support, but also the most important part is treasure. I have a challenge for all of you. Every dollar that you give to their clinic, I'll match it. That's up to $50,000. And if we do 50 and 50, that's $100,000.